we are touching on this instant shower head. This is the part 2. We had a slight problem with our internet, and my top boss, I can guarantee you that we are doing well currently. Apologies for the first session where we had those issues, but we are back at it, my top boss. Smash that like button. Let me know where you are streaming this live stream from. I have top bosses from Kenya. The majority of my top bosses are in my country, the beloved, beautiful country, Kenya. I have top bosses from Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan, South Africa, Nigeria. Ogao, I salute you so much. Ghana is in the building. I also have friends from UK and a few from the USA. You need to pull up your socks, my top bosses from the USA, and be part of this community of top bosses. Now, moving on, we are currently doing a replacement of these cables here, and my top boss Simon has done a very good job. We have 4.0 cables here from the instant shower head all the way to the switch. But again, my top boss, we need to do something very important from the source, which is the consumer unit. Let us do that right away. Now we will use our conduit here. Our conduit is already set. Now, my top boss, what I need to tell you is that already there is a layout. The conduit layout has been done from this consumer unit all the way to our DPMCB. We have that conduit layout. Now, all we need to do is to go on with the wiring or the electrical installation, and from the switch we'll redirect our cable, which are 4.0 mm all the way to this point here. So I pull. Remember, if at all this consumer unit is placed far away from the switch, then you will not be finding it easy doing it as John is doing here. What you will be doing, you will use a steel tape, and you will also have a friend of yours assisting you in this work. So I'm making it seem so easy, but assuming you are talking about a corridor where you have the consumer unit there, or you probably have the consumer unit located in the kitchen or the dining area, where is the consumer unit mostly located, right? So we will also go with the shortest distance here. We will pick this earth bar connection here, or the earth termination here. Very, very important connection when it comes to the instant shower head. But why? Simply because we require to earth our instant shower head. Now, my top boss, that is that. And then what we require to do is, let me just bring it closer. As you can see, so we have the earth connection right there. So on my consumer unit, one thing that I would want to notify you is that we do have 2 sets of earth bars. We also do have 2 sets of neutral bars. We will settle with a 32 ampere MCB so that we can definitely have that right connection there. My top boss, Clyde Kabwe says, Clyde the electrician from Narok Town, congratulations bro, unatujenga sana. Incredible. Thank you so much for your feedback, and I really do appreciate you so much, Clyde. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Clyde, all the way from Narok Town. So my top boss, Simon, we are privileged to have our top bosses from Kenya, and one is Clyde. Is it Clyde or Cloud? Clyde is in the building. All right. So we already have Top Boss streaming live, and it gives me joy. So with the black cable or our neutral, we definitely pull it. And then I normally say make good use of the consumer unit, because you never know, in future uh, you might not be the one to go back for repair work. So here we ensure that we make use of the sufficient room that is in the consumer unit to cater for future repairs. Apologies for that. I hope you didn't see that. I know most of you will fight me and probably say, why are you not using the correct termination? Now, when it comes to our MCB here, we have a 32 MCB. Again, making good use of the room that is in the consumer unit. We'll take it all the way further and then take it back here before we can definitely terminate it at that particular point, my top boss. Once we have ensured that that connection is there, so we definitely go ahead and start terminating. I need a stripping tool, I need a pliers, and I have my top boss Simon coming in handy for us here. Now it is not that time I used to struggle alone. I have top boss Simon with me here, and Simon is very dedicated, and he's very serious with his work and pursuing his life goals. Simon,
Yes.
kindly come to the stream right here and do these terminations as I will be talking with you, or rather, I would love to really know, what is your passion, Simon, as an electrical technician? When did you start thinking that, you know what, I can get into this?
Yeah, when I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
used to like about electrical.
Simon, we can't see you.
You can't see me, I'm here.
How about rare?
Let me help you here.
Yeah, very good. So you, while you were in high school?
Yes.
Mhm.
I was passionate in electrical
Yes.
engineering,
Mhm.
and that's what I'm pursuing now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Many of the youths of today are not that serious. They don't want to work, and they are probably looking for just jobs online, and they don't want to do this. You know, this is difficult work. What motivates you to, get into this?
Like I just decided to have this course
Yeah.
because it is a technical course.
Mm,
You can employ yourself.
correct.
Yeah.
Apart from probably, the jobs that you are used to, whereby someone will go and sit in an office, you probably are looking for something?
Yes.
Pliers, correct.
Yeah.
So many people probably think that sitting in an office is a display of success, or they are doing well. Do you think that is a good way to do things for you as an electrician?
No.
Mm.
To me, I just believe in working.
Yes.
Yeah. Using my hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being handy is something that is very important when it comes to an electrician's life.
Yeah.
Because you will use your hands. Apart from that, you are using your brains
Yeah.
to give solutions, provide solutions to people.
Yes.
What size of MCB are you using there, Simon?
I'm using that too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
32 MCB. And why is it important to connect an MCB to this circuit?
Uh,
Why not just connect it direct or to the main switch?
for any excess current.
Yeah.
The MCCB will just trip.
The MCB, the specific one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will just trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that particular circuit will be protected against any issues, isn't it?
Yes.
That is right. Top boss, if you're finding value out of our today's video, kindly smash the like button. Let us see the love coming all the way from your end, and let us also know where you're streaming from, and we'll definitely be glad to have your presence here, my top boss. So we are using a 4.0 cable to connect from the consumer unit, as our top boss Simon is doing. I will also be linking Simon's handle on our descriptions so that you can check out his work, can check out his channel, as well as subscribe to his work. And if you'll be impressed by the work that he'll be posting, definitely I know you will learn a lot, especially when it comes to uh, things to do with motors. What else can you perfectly do, Simon?
Electrical installations.
Yes.
Solar installations.
Mm.
And control.
All right.
In motor.
That's
connection.
nice. That's nice. Many of the electricians, especially beginner electricians, students, are having a lot of challenges, as we know the challenges that are related with finding work or finding a place for attachment. What would you advise them, especially if they have been looking, tamacking, but nothing is forthcoming?
What I could like to tell them, don't lose hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And don't give up. Just trust the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. For that neutral, that is a very good job that I can see you're doing there. Can you use pliers to ensure that it is it's a very good right angle there? Also be gentle with the insulation so that it may not get out. Perfect. And just on the other side so that it can be a little bit straight. All right, let us not dwell on that, Simon. Let us proceed all the way to the switch. At the switch level, a lot to learn, especially when it comes to this type of an instant shower head, because you need to have very tight connections. You also, when cutting the cables, you leave an allowance, like Simon is rightly doing it. Why is it important? Why not just cut the cables at exactly where the switch is?
Yeah, in future there may be a repair, and it may require an extra wire.
Yes.
Yeah, so to ensure that there are no any other expenses,
Yes.
you will just use the wires.
Yes.
That were left.
That is very right. All right. I think we require a saddle for this one because it's so stubborn. But in the meantime, you continue with the installation. We find a saddle here. I don't know whether I can find one. Saddle. So, top bosses, what do you think about our today's installation in your country? To be specific, do you have it? Do you have the instant shower header? Do you use it in any way?
We use this stripping tool to ensure that we don't get into damage with our wires.
So what is the problem when someone uses a wrong stripping tool when stripping the cable, Simon?
As I said, if you use the wrong stripping tool, you may get into damaging our conductor.
Yes.
Maybe reducing the number of the strands in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very correct.
As I told you, this is our shower switch. It entails of a load and supply,
Yes.
and I will show you how we do it.
So in many cases, when it comes to cable connection, if at all the strands are reduced, it means there's a problem, because that will mean that there will be a lot of issues when it comes to the flow of current.
Yeah.
Uh, we do not want to localize or bring an issue of resistance, because if the strands are reduced, it means that the size or the diameter of the cable is definitely reduced, and
Yes.
that will definitely mean that there will be increased resistance to the flow of current, a scenario that we will not want to entertain in any way. Right. So thank you so much, my top boss, who is streaming live. And if you have any comment, let us know. We have Fidel Castro. What a name! Says top boss, during the connection of a ring socket connection, does the cables goes back to the back to where they are originating in the consumer unit, or what happens? Absolutely correct. So that is a very good question when it comes to the ring circuit connection for sockets. Did you know that there is a ring circuit for lighting? Very important. So when you have the connection for the neutral, it or the phase, it has to go back to the consumer unit. So you'll have like you have like two connections going back to the consumer unit, so that in case of anything, there is a flow of current or electricity all the way. Right.
So, and when you are just doing this, ensure that on the load side, you supply it with the power from the CCU,
Yes.
and the supply on the supply side.
Yes.
I think I'm confusing myself. On the road side,
Yes.
supply with power from the CCU. On our on our load,
Yes.
we have the shower.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our load is actually the shower head itself.
Yeah.
All right. So on the socket, on the DP switch, you have as a part where you connect the supply as well as you connect the load, and that is very, very important to take note. If, for instance, you will connect the supply on the load side, what happens?
This thing will always be on.
What thing?
This LED. And the other thing is, if you connect wrongly,
Yes.
maybe on the neutral side you
Yes.
put alive, and then on the other side you put neutral, you will short. Yeah.
Correct.
And the other thing is, just know that in this switch, it is a normally opened switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone that is involved in motor connections will understand where Simon is coming from when he talks about normally open. Did you say normally open?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the topic of motors, contactors, as well as there's something else that is usually in even in inverters. Relay, correct.
Yeah.
I really didn't do well, and I have a lot of top bosses asking about that, and I believe that we are going to have a great time talking about that with you, especially now that you are interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So top bosses who have been asking about relays, contactors, we are definitely going to deal with that. Is it tightly done?
Yeah.
All right. So my top boss, we are installing or replacing the instant shower head. We have started by replacing the cables. Initially, the cables that were in use were 2.5 millimeter square cables, that is in the diameter size of the cables. And we are saying that that is not the correct size for this heater, considering that it draws around 25 amperes from the circuit. And so we have to replace it so that we can have a 4.0, which can actually accommodate the current that this load is consuming or is drawing, so that we have a very good flow of current. All right, my top boss. I know in so many countries and regions in the world are not familiar with that instant shower head. They definitely have a central boiling point for water. And so for us here, we have to constantly use it. And if at all we have different rooms, we have probably instant shower heads in those rooms. If, for instance, we are talking about Olen suits, right? Are you done? So something very important is that we have to take care of the cables, ensure that we organize them correctly, so that it will fit here.
Yeah, ensure you use the battery box
Yes.
well.
So he's making good use of that connection right there, so that everything is doing well. Very good connection right there. Because the cables are many, you probably will have some strain in there, Simon. But it's also good when you are coming up with this installation. It is always good to ensure that you use a deep batteries, just as our top boss has mentioned. Other countries I know refer to it as an MK box. Other countries will give the correct measurements. Is it a 2 by 3 MK box, or is it a 2 by 2, or is it a 3 by 3? Right. Good job. Simon is doing an incredible job right there. And we are almost at the most interesting part, which is definitely connecting the instant shower head itself, or basically replacing it. Simon, why are you using a tester for that purpose instead of a screwdriver?
Because of the screws are small.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So we probably need to have a screwdriver which is the correct one, but again, which can serve as well. That's okay. Good job. Good job right there. All right. Now, we have a very important section here, my top boss. When it comes to the instant shower head, we have done an incredible job from the consumer unit all the way to the switch, and Simon has connected these cables here. Now, you might have a very good installation at this particular point, Simon, as you have done it.
Yeah.
But in most cases, you will find that the one thing that is remaining is definitely at the point whereby the instant shower head itself has to be replaced. I have encountered people who, when it comes to the replacement of this instant shower head, they mess up big time. Why? Because you find that they replace it, but at the point of the joints, they do a very poor job.
Yeah.
Another thing is that these cables are not supposed to lie on this cable, on this conduit here. Remember, this is metallic. Okay. So, and another thing is that we have these cables that are completely different. And so I would request you, Simon, to strip for us these cables so that we can demonstrate how different these cables are, and the correct way to join them, because different cables are supposed to be joined differently. If you have a cable with a lot of strands, And in many cases, you find that the strands are very small. How do you then make a joint whereby you are using fewer stranded cables or a single stranded cable or a solid cable with a multi-stranded cable? That joint, if not properly done, there is definitely going to be a big problem. So we are going to talk about that. We are going to do a very good job at the joints, and we will be explaining to you every step of the way, my top boss. So many of you already watching us live on our stream. I can see 7 people. Thank you so much for joining in and spending your time here with us. We love your company. Today we have our top boss, Simon. Look at that top boss. You know, he's very serious with his work, and he's very dedicated, and it's really challenging me, because you know what, I love and appreciate dealing with top bosses who are committed. I usually say that you have to be serious as an electrical technician in the work that you are doing. Now, for that one, Simon, we are definitely going to have a new instant shower head, and have something here. We have an instant shower head that we can probably use.
The other thing is,
Yes.
I will introduce a flexible conduit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
As a stop boss,
Yes.
we don't do a shaggy work. Yeah, we will use this one.
Yes.
But let's first deal with the joints.
Yes.
Then I will show you there are different 2 types of wire here. Yeah, there are these ones and this one.
Yes.
They're not the same.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Simon, if you may allow me to pick it up from there. If, for instance, this is the instant shower head that was initially there, and we want to replace it with a new one, we have this one. Let's just go with this, the example that I have. I know there are many types of instant shower heads, but we are using this one. It's from Lorenzetti. Some of the features to tell that this is an original instant shower head for us here in Kenya, we will have a mark of KEBS, number 1. Number 2, we will have these writings, not black, but they are definitely navy blue. If I show you another one here, there is a difference. There is a difference, but it might be very difficult for you to tell, my top boss, if you are not very keen. So this is what we have. Simon, can you tell the difference from a glance, assuming that you are purchasing these instant shower heads very fast, very quickly?
Very quickly.
You are in a rush.
You can't see the difference.
It could probably be very difficult for you to tell the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just look similar.
Yeah.
But one is fake, one is original. This is original, and this is what we are using. Now, some of the features are definitely, the writings are in a kind of not dark, but you know, a navy blue sort of. We have the KEBS mark right there. This paper makes a lot of noise, unnecessary noise. That is how you tell it's original. The other one is very hard, tough, you know, kind of compact. And what else? Another feature is definitely there are instant shower heads which do have this paper here, which is white with red writings. This one is yellow with black writings. That is also another feature, Simon, that I have also discovered many people are you know, using when it comes to an instant shower head, which is definitely not the authentic one, or which is not the original one. If I may have a tester so that I can get rid of these pins here, so that we can demonstrate it to you. So this is the correct way of doing things. When you get to a customer, you ensure that you supply what is authentic. Now, that is also another important thing that we need to know and do as electrical technicians. If you propose quality products for your customers, majority of whom are willing to buy, right? They are willing to buy a product which is authentic. They are willing to pay for a product which is authentic. You know, it's good for you to always ensure that you get that. Now, when it comes to this instant shower head, what we will do is to definitely remove it like that. So you turn it gently in an anti-clockwise manner, like that. When you go to install this instant shower head, some of the things that you need to have, number one is you need to have this important tool, because sometimes when you are turning the instant shower head, it may come out with this particular part, and you as an electrical technician must have some knowledge when it comes to plumbing. No, must have some very important knowledge. Now, assuming that you have replaced that instant shower head and you did not have this, this is a half socket for plumbing. I don't know whether that is the correct name that I have used, but whenever I visit the hardwares or the plumbing outlets in Kenya, this is the name that I use. It's a uh, half inch socket, you know. So that is what I have. Now, as an electrical technician, what you need to do is to ensure that you have this whenever you're going to carry out, you know, the shower head installation or the replacement. So myself, I ensure that I have, Simon, I don't know what name is given to this. I've
Thread.
forgotten. Thread tape, correct. So it will go through the threads, and then you must have this. For instance, when you're going to replace the instant shower head and this one is probably rusty or it has an issue, you probably need this, and definitely this tool. When it comes to connecting the thread or tying the thread, I hope that Simon, if you may let us have the camera closer. So come closer with the camera and then focus on these particular points. So, okay, all right. So that is great. So you first of all ensure that the threads go all the way inside like that. This is how you tape the threads. So this is how you ensure that the thread tape goes all the way in those, should I say, ridges, and then you definitely conclude by doing that. So this is how, you know, using the thread tape, and then you take your socket half inch socket, remove any thread that is in there, so that once you decide to connect, you will definitely do a perfect job in there. So that is what we have, goes all the way. And then because we want a tight connection, we ensure that you use this tool holding the metallic pipe. Do like that, we have a perfect connection right there. Now, taking our instant shower head, what we do now is remove it, and then so once we take our instant shower head, normally what you will find is that there is this part that restricts the flow of water. Now, what I normally do is to remove it, because according to my experience is that I've discovered that sometimes it may have an issue with the flow of water. So I may remove it if, for instance, the pressure is sufficient. But if the pressure is not sufficient, I will definitely keep it. Now for us here, let us use it as a demonstration. Let us also thread on the instant shower head. And first of all is to ensure that you thread it correctly. So this is what we do. We ensure that the threads go all the way. Simon, if you can adjust the camera to just see my threads right there as I create. Is it visible on the camera? So this is what we do. We ensure that the thread tape goes all the way in the threads like so, like that, and then we now show that the thread. This is the work of an electrician who is replacing the instant shower head, not the work of the plumber. So you really need to have those skills. You're done with that. So when you push it inside there, and then you gently, that is the key word there, gently turn it in a clockwise direction. Turn it gently, 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 and ensure that it goes all the way in. And then the final turn, as it starts getting harder, you turn it the last time. There we have it. And once you have done that, you now turn the knob to ensure that water flows through it before you make the connection. Why? So that you are sure that this connection that you have done here, the plumbing, does not have leaking water. All right, because imagine you have done all the installation, the joints, you have insulated, and then when you go to test whether it's working, you discover that indeed there is a problem here, and you have to restart everything. So that one will be a problem. Okay, so that is that. So what I would want us to do here is, like Simon had introduced, is to definitely start now working on our joint. Now, the first thing that we have to do is to connect the flexible conduit. So this is the flexible conduit. We will run this conduit all the way here until this point where we have the cable, and then cut. So then we'll push it all the way so that our cables don't lie bare on I'm struggling a bit. I will have to use an insulating tape to ensure that there is a smooth flow. Remember also, on the other videos, Simon was talking about separating the joints, ensuring that the joints are not positioned at the same place, so that in case there is a problem with one joint, it doesn't escalate or it doesn't affect the other joint. So this is what you do. And then for these cables here, you also ensure that they go through that flexible conduit, or the cables go through the conduit right there. So Simon, if you may come closer and be able to film as I do this. So what we do, we ensure that that particular piece goes all the way in, so that we don't have any cable that is in contact with our connection right there. So we definitely do that. Now, there's a mistake that is usually done by the manufacturers. You can see that where these cables are, it's almost at the same distance. So we will have to sacrifice one cable. Have to sacrifice one cable so that it becomes longer than the other. Now we have two white cables here from the instant shower head, and we have a green one. These two cables are supposed to be connected either to a live or a phase or a line, and the other one to a neutral, right? So if you go with this one, connecting it to a neutral, it definitely means that the live or the phase connection will be connected to this one. This one is definitely connected to the earth connection all the way from our switch. Now, what we need to do here, very, very important, is to mind how our joint will be. Now that this cable here is the longest, is longer, we will definitely connect it to this, and therefore our cable here, we will simply turn it like so. When it comes to this phase and neutral, Simon has wisely ensured that they are separate, as you can see. So if we made a joint on this one, we'll definitely have this one longer. That definitely leaves us with this decision that if at all this is, if at all we go with this, we will have it go all the way there. And then we will cut this cable here so that it will match with this connection, so that we have these connections knocking off each other. So in essence, what I mean is that we will have this earth connection going all the way. We will have this one going all the way here. And then we are left with one, which is the neutral. So that means we are going to sacrifice this piece of cable from the shower head and cut it at this particular point. Or we can simply strip it so that we have maximum connection. We are going to use a married joint type of connection so that have that. So I can as well, because this has gone all the way inside here, I can simply reduce the size of this so that at the end of the installation, we will definitely be able to maximize what is inside here. So this is what we have. These joints here must be properly done now. So with this one, we will definitely strip it. Then I will definitely be showing you where we can cut. So that is the one that we have stripped. Now, assuming that we will go with this, we are going to cut this cable here so that the connection begins all the way from here. Isn't it, Simon?
Yes.
So we can definitely reduce it to some extent right there. Then we strip it. Just ensure that we have the correct size so that our cable can have maximum contact, or our joint can have maximum contact right there. For our earth connection, we'll definitely strip it as well. Now, this is a very interesting point to note. We as top heights electricals and electricians don't employ the insulation tape. Why? Because if you make a joint and then you have this issue here where you have a steam penetrating, it means that this insulation tape will start getting off and therefore exposing the joints, which will be a huge problem. What do we use? We use what we refer to as waterproof shrink sleeves. That is what we have. They are called waterproof shrink sleeves. Very, very important when it comes to joints. So we have these as the glue. Have glue here. We have glue here. At the middle, we have a part of solder, right? So we have soldering material. Once we make this joint, we are going to ensure that we heat. Remember, it's a heat shrink sleeve. We'll heat it so that this solder can melt. All right. But first, before we do any joint, we have to ensure that we take these inside so that you don't do a joint only to realize later that you are supposed to have them in. So you ensure that they first go in. This is what I have. And then for the other one, which is very, very important as well, we'll ensure that it goes in as well. Having done that, it now makes our work very easy. We remain with the most important part, which is definitely joints. Now, for married joints, we have these cables here which are stranded, but we are joining them to a multi-stranded cable with fewer strands. What do we need to do? We definitely need to ensure that we make good use of type of joint which is married. So here what you have to do is to ensure that once you have separated them like that, you bring the first one. So we have like two. We have this and this. And we have this and this. Now we marry them, right? We begin with the first one. So for me, the easiest way to do it is to crisscross. So if you do away with the first one first, we shall revisit. You then crisscross, meaning you have an X sort of thing. So Simon, if you can bring the camera too close to this joint here, so that just a little bit, so that this is what we have. Thank you so much for joining our live stream today. I can see so many of you on the stream. It means a lot to me. So if you have this cross there, all you need to do is to simply hold it at that point, and then you fold it like that, so that one section of the wires hold the other, and then the other one goes like that, goes like that. All right. So it is kind of, they are holding each other like that. So once you have done that, you take your pliers, pair of pliers, and ensure that you reinforce that connection. Reinforce that connection. Tighten it. Tighten it. Same with that one. And you ensure that all the ends of those wires are actually properly bent. So why? So that you don't have an issue once you start heating the shrink sleeves. So that is what we have. Again, going to the next level or the next pair, we also do the same. So for that, we ensure that we do the whole. In fact, you can even split them further like that if you are looking forward to have a tighter connection. So you can even split them further like that or like that. And then, I don't think that is a wise move. Let us not split them. Haha, top boss. So if we have that, we also do the same. Do the same like that, and then we reinforce the connection. That is a married joint. Just reinforce with the pliers. And we want to find out, is it a mechanically sound joint? How will we find out? We try to separate it or bring it apart so that we can be able to tell, is it mechanically a tight joint? Okay. So what do you think about my joint? Let us try to remove it. Nothing is happening, no matter the type of force that I use. Now, when it comes to my sleeves here, I'll ensure that everything is intact, and then I will bring the sleeve like that and ensure the joint is on the middle like that, and then ensure that you see where the joint is starting, you know, the joint itself is in between these glue, so that once I start melting, because we are going to melt it, we're going to heat it with our heat gun. Let us do that for the first for that first joint. Top boss, if you are already finding value out of our today's session, kindly smash that like button. I can see Silas Musioka says, Mwalimu, what do we call joints from the instant shower head? Joints, what do we call them? Probably may have missed the exact question. So what I have here is my heat gun. So I power my heat gun to power definitely, and this heat gun is very, very important because it generates air, which is hot. That's the reason why it is called a heat gun. So that is what we have. Hot air coming from here will definitely be able to heat it. Now, very important here is that, as I mentioned, we have what is referred to as solder here. This solder will melt upon heat, and it will make our joint to be more firm. But my greatest interest is that this provides a perfect insulation, and this glue will also definitely make a great combination with the insulation on the wire, ensuring that water or steam by any chance does not get into our joint. Now, if my cameraman will come closer, so we have the joint here, and then all that I need to do is to ensure that I hit it. Hitting it, as you can see, it is already melting. Distribute it like that. So the glue on the side is definitely melting right there. You need to be very careful not to burn yourself. Once that is done, according to me, I can see that the glue has already melted, and so you have to wait for it. You know, the characteristic of plastic is that once it is cooled, it will definitely be hard. So we let it to cool down like that before we can interfere with it in any way. Once it is cool or once it is cold, it will definitely be very hard, and so meaning that puncturing it will also be an uphill task. That being done, let us proceed to the next joint. So the next joint also, what we are doing is doing the same, going on with the married joint. If Simon can come closer with the camera, so that for this one, we're going to do like a one off joint, all right? So we're not going to use like the two joints that we did. So if we have this, you can see they are a bit closer, but it is okay. At least we have offset it. So what we have here is that. So you see we have these, like, you know, we intercross them like this, and then we simply ensure that they go like that. So that is what we have. And then we have that. No. Am I doing the correct thing? I think so. It's a very tricky type of joint here now that we have different strands. So once we, let me know in the comment section, what do you think of such a joint? We have that. We take our pair of pliers. I don't know why today I'm referring to them as pair of pliers. I'm used to pliers. I'm used to just pliers. Right. Correct. So now what we are remaining with is to also connect it on this other side and ensure that our married joint is married and shall never be divorced unless force is used, of which it will be probably as a result of replacing that instant shower head, as we can see. So the joint appears to be very small, but I can assure you, they normally say it is not the size of the dog that matters, it is the fight in the dog. Woo! I got that quote correctly without struggling. It is not the size of the dog that matters, it is the fight in the dog. The fight in this dog is completely out of this world, as we can demonstrate. If we try to pull this joint apart, my top boss, it is very, very tough for us to achieve that. So many of you in the stream, and I really appreciate that. We are headed to the top of the hour, and I want to thank you so much for your participation. I can see most of you in here saying, like my top boss says, what is the name of the item you are hitting? Oh, this is a shrink sleeve waterproof joint, right? So it is playing with us here, disappearing in there. If I use a tester, I will definitely be able to bring it back here. It's going to be another task for me. The good thing is that we have a flexible conduit, so it makes work very easier for us. There we go. So this is a waterproof shrink sleeve. It has in it glue, and it also has solder. Solder ensures that it strengthens the joint. This glue ensures that the joint is completely waterproof. If, for instance, we were using a shrink sleeve such as this one, just a moment. Why can't we? The reason is this is not waterproof. It is a good idea, but it is not waterproof, and we are interested in the steam that is generated in this instant shower head inside the bathroom. So again, we have our joint there. You can see the glue is right here and right here. Our joint is safely secured in the middle with the solder covering it. So that means that we are going to have a very good connection right there. Using our heat gun, we will definitely ensure that we heat it. So Simon, I don't know whether that is correct. Is it properly positioned? Perfect. So heating it, my top boss hardens the connection right there. So you continue gently, gently hitting it, hitting it, hitting the joints, hitting the shrink sleeve. Then we go right. So for our solder, it's going to take some more hits, but I wish that we stop at it because we are sure that our joints is definitely okay, like that. Right. Now, last but not least, this thing is very hot. We have to be very careful how we handle it. Last but not least, my top boss, we have the earth connection. Earth connection will go all the way right there. Again, remember, if this earth connection comes in contact with this face, there is a problem. There is an incidence which we refer to as a leaking current or a short circuit. Here we will also apply what we have done, which is a married joint. First of all, X everything, and then you start coiling one section of the strands on the cable and the other section on the cable. Now this is what you are going to do. Simply do like that. My top boss, can you also practice this type of joint? If you are so good with this joint type, then it means that you will avoid a lot of problems when it comes to electrical, because in electrical, bad joints, bad connections are definitely, as we like to say here at Top Heights, a recipe for disaster. You can be creative and also turn that one like so. You can also go with one or single strands. Bottom line is you ensure that whatever you're doing can be justified in terms of a mechanically sound joint and also an electrically sound joint. So as you can see, I've decided to use that technique. Also simply reinforce it using pliers. Pliers ensures that it is mechanically sound. Yes. I'm so proud of this work, proud of this type of connection, so proud of this type of joint. If you try to pull it apart again, nothing is happening, meaning that it is a tight joint, my top post. Again, we bring in our sleeve, which we had previously ensured that it's in there. And you also need to inspect your joint right there so that it should not puncture your sleeves as you are trying to pull them in, or to hit them. The point where you are hitting the sleeves, they are very soft. So if they are soft, it is easier to get punctured by the strands of the cable, isn't it, Simon? Yes. So what we do is gently show that we drive it all the way. Very important to note, my top boss, is this glue. Take note of this glue on the sides. This is yellow. This is yellow in color. Once it melts, it brings a firm connection. Look at the other two joints. This glue here melts, and it actually ensures that this joint here is waterproof. So any water that may find its way leaking in will not go past the glue to the joint. That is what we are avoiding. Now, let us go to hitting this last part here. Top boss. Simon, how do you like our today's lesson?
Uh, I know it have helped a lot of electricians
Yes,
and our followers too.
yes,
Yeah.
correct. So, last but not least, we definitely hit, and then like so. Make sure that the glue is in there. Like that. So we can see that the glue has already melted on both sides. We can also discover a very important thing that our solder is already melting at this point, so that that connection is electrically sound. All right, my top boss, what do you think of that? Another important thing is to ensure that we let it, be dry, so that it is not affected in any way. And at this particular point, as you can see, our flexible conduit has been affected by the heat from the heat gun. It is okay. So that is how our connection is. These other plastics or these other heat shrink sleeves that we had done are already very, very dry, and making our connection very tightly done. Now, if we may stretch our cables, you can see that these joints, they are offset. We have tried, but they should be completely offset. You find that if it is a neutral, it is supposed to, sort of cross each other like that, so that where the insulation or where the joint starts is where the other one ends. So that is, yeah, you offset them that way, and I will be sharing more details in that in our coming videos. Now, once we have done that connection, it is also good for you to, just massage the joint to ensure that there's no wire that you can feel, isn't it?
Yes.
So that it does not puncture the other. If at all there is such a scenario whereby you feel there is a cable, you have to repeat that particular joint. Say, for instance, it is this one, and you feel there is a wire that is pricking you. I know we probably may have gloves, but if, for instance, you feel that there's a wire that has punctured one particular sleeve, you have to do a repeat job on that specific sleeve. Having done that, we now seal the deal. I don't know whether you can bring the camera closer. So that is what we have. We will definitely now ensure that we cover it like that with the flexible conduit. So we do that all the way in, and once we do that, because there is some gap here, I would wish to use a white insulation tape to ensure that I seal that point. Very, very important part there. So once this is done, I couldn't get my insulation tape, the white one, but you can go ahead and wrap this part and place it here. So I think it would be best for us to look for it until we find it. Just a second, my top bosses. Just found it. Thank you, Simon. So we have it here. So the reason why I have been very, very specific or particular with the white insulation tape is because if we do black on these, it won't look good for the eyes. isn't it, Simon?
Yes.
We want, as much as we are doing a safe job here, we want the customer to, feel that we have done the correct finishing, because this is a selling point.
Yeah.
If the customer sees this, because this is what they are able to see with their naked eyes, the joint that you have done, you can't convince them that you have done a good job if on the outside things are not looking good. So this is our selling point. We want the customer to give us more job. If they see that the joint that we have done or the connection that we have done on the outside is great, they will be convinced that we have done a good job internally, if I should say so, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have found so many customers who give me repeat jobs as well as referrals simply because they saw that I did a good finishing work. And the finishing job is your ambassador, or it's your CV. It communicates to people. Now, once we have done that, my top boss, all we need to do is to ensure that we, you know, uh, align these two conduits or these two pipes. We have the flexible and we have this, we align them like that. Now you may probably wonder, why is it that I have this part here? Doesn't it look good? I say that electrically, yes, it does. Why? Because remember, in future, as Simon was telling us, we're dealing with repair work, you may require to cut some portion of the cable, and so it will come in handy to cater for the reductions that we will be doing in there. Another thing that is definitely going to help you is use of these uh, features here, Simon. These are very important. My top boss, what is the correct name given to this? Let me know in the comment section if you know. What name do you give to this? So we make good use of this to ensure that the flexible conduit is in place so that it does not have to, move from place to place. Ensure that everything is well organized, well in place. And then at this point here, this is what we shall do. We shall leave it just like that, so that in future, if someone comes in with an instant shower head that has, they will not have to. Why? Because there is enough room for the cables for expansion in here, right? Just get rid of that piece there. We want to ensure that everything is good for the eyes or for the aesthetics. We also have to cut. This is so satisfying every time that I'm working at clients, just cutting these particular parts here. So that is what we have as our instant shower head. Now, last but not least, my top boss, I want to explain something very important here. If you may come closer, Simon, there is a very important thing that I would want to talk about at this particular point. And this is definitely to do with switching, all right? Definitely to do with the switching to this particular point. And so what I would like us to talk about is before you even turn the water on and before you remove this paper, there is a notice that is written here. Avoid burning of the heating element. Let the water flow through the product or the instant shower head before connecting to the electricity. What it actually means that you don't turn this switch on until the water runs. Water runs so that that heating element is submerged in water. Normally, how this instant shower head works is like a heating element or is a heater, and it has to be cooled. So in the process of cooling that heating element or the heater, the water gets hot or warm. So water has to continuously flow through